What's going on, all my toy collectors out there? It's your boy Ox, and today we're going to be taking a look at a new line of action figures called the Saurozoic Warriors by a company called Boss Fight Studios. Now these four right here are the first figures to be released in this toy line, excluding two exclusive repaints that you'll only find at Entertainment Earth and Big Bad Toy Store. Now let's go ahead and pop these out of the box and see if they're just as amazing in hand as they look through that clear window, and if they're worth joining the rest of the toys that I have here in the Cave of Wonders. All right, guys. Okay, real fast, I want to let you guys know that if you head over to bossfightstudios.com, you guys can actually get a free digital download of the Saurozoic Warriors comic book. It's about 4 or 5 pages, and it's absolutely free, no credit card, username, or password. It's just a free digital download to your phone or computer, and it'll give you a brief look and history into these characters and the kind of world that they come from. Now, I'm going to tell you guys real fast. I'm going to make it real quick. Basically, they come from a world of dinosaurs where they're really smart, they're civilized, they all get along, they have jobs in school and stuff like that, and they end up finding out that a comet is coming to destroy their world. So they pull their resources, they end up developing some kind of transporting unit that'll transport them to a new planet. Well, some of them walk through the portal not knowing exactly what the planet's going to be like, and then the comet comes and destroys their world that they were living on. So the new planet that they go to, they end up living there for centuries. It's a really harsh environment. They don't have a lot of stuff that they had from their old world, and basically a new king ends up coming into power called King Terran. He's a Triceratops. That's not him right there. But basically, he's a leader of the Ceratopsians, which are basically like Triceratopses. And what he's doing is he's hoarding technology that'll help out everyone on this new planet, all the different species, but he's hoarding them for himself. And then his captain of his royal guard, which is Triax right here, he ends up finding those different forbidden tools and maps and stuff, and he steals them because he wants to make sure that all the different species on this new world could benefit from this different kind of technology and stuff. So he ends up going rogue, and then King Terran ends up finding out, and he sends his Ceratopsian Guards, that's one right there, he ends up sending them to go find their captain and kill him and bring back those different tools and stuff like that and weapons. That way they don't fall into the hands of the other species. So that right there is a brief little look, and I'll tell you about the other characters as we look at them. And since the story revolves around Triax right here, let's go ahead and take a look at him first. Okay, guys? All right, now this right here is Triax Skiver. I don't know if it's Skiver or Skyver, but that's his name right there in the lower corner. And he is the captain of the Royal Guard for the Ceratopsians. And he is the one who comes across those plans and technology that King Terran was hoarding from the rest of the world. And basically he steals those plans and ends up going rogue. That way he can share them with the rest of the planet, so they're not living in such a harsh environment. And like I said, he is the main character out of all 4 of these action figures, and that's why we're looking at him first. So taking a look at the front, you can see a clear bubble of what comes with this toy. You can see the figure, an axe or a revolver, a gun, a knife, and a couple smoke bombs. You can see it says Saurozoic Warriors. You can see the name Boss Fight Studios. That's the company that makes these, and his name. Taking a look at the side of the box, you can see a comic book image of Triax right here. And on the back, it gives you a brief little bio of the character. You guys can pause that and read up on it. And it shows you the other action figures in this wave right here. So let's go ahead and pop him out of the box. Okay, now this is Triax out of the box and all of his weapons. Like I said, he was the captain of the Royal Guard for the Ceratopsians. He's the one who ended up finding those forbidden plans and tools that he ended up stealing from King Terran. That way he could share them with the rest of the planet. So because the story's wrapped around him and he's the most important figure out of all 4 of these so far, that's why we're going to look at him first. So starting off by taking a look at his weapons right here, you can see this is his axe. I love all this extra texture and stuff right here on the blade. Check that out. You can see it has a lot of battle damage right here. You can see some wrap right here around the thing. That's not painted. It's all one solid color, but I like how that, it's at least painted 2 different colors. It's not one whole color, which you see a lot of times with these figures. So right here's a grenade or gas can right here. It comes with 2 of those. He has a little knife right here. Yeah, I like all that sculpting right there. You can see parts of the blade right in here. I like the fact that they at least painted the handle and the blade. Sometimes you just get it'll all be gray, Then he comes with 2 guns. He comes with a revolver right here. And then he comes with some other kind of pistol. But like I said, you could see all the different, even the texture right here in the handle. See all them little dots and stuff? So they didn't go cheap on this, which is pretty cool because I like that with my toys. Let's go ahead and take a look at Triax up close. And right out the box, I mean, I noticed it through the box that I just knew I was going to love these figures. I was just like, I hope the articulation is going to be good at least. You know, I hope it's not going to be all flimsy. But you can see all the detail and all the sculpting in his armor. He has bullet holes, some battle damage, even right on his face right here. You can see, you know, he's gotten into some kind of scuffle over the years. So, yeah, it looks really good. Now, notice his fingers. A little bit of a not so hard plastic in the hands. That way you can fit his weapons inside there, which is good because I hate trying to force weapons in the hands and then it ends up ripping the paint off either the accessories or the hands of the figure. So, but yeah, man, I love all the detail right up in here. Can you see it? It's like a textured on his skin. So, but let's go ahead and take a look at the articulation first. His head goes up to about there. It goes down pretty far. It's on like a ball joint, so it swivels around. His mouth does open, doesn't it? Yep, there it is. His mouth opens up like that. His arms come up to about there. They do swivel around. He doesn't have any kind of bicep swivel. He has single jointed elbows, but they do rotate around like that. His hands do go in. They do go out. They do rotate around as well. He does have a waist swivel right here, but he doesn't have any kind of ab crunch or upper torso swivel or anything like that. Now, it's a little bit thin plastic right here on some of his holsters that hold his weapons or whatever, but this does not hinder his foot from coming up, his leg from coming up or going out. It doesn't stop that. So that's how far that works. His knee does have single jointed knees, but they do rotate around. His foot does go up, does go down. It does rock back and forth. So, and that's pretty much for the articulation. But yeah, man, this figure looks dope. I love it. I mean, I knew I was going to love it when I bought it, and I was like, please let this thing be amazing out of the box when I get it, man. But let's go ahead and fit his weapons inside of all of his holsters, okay? From what I see, this one right here is a bigger holster. I think this holds the revolver because of how wide it is. Let's go ahead and put that in there. Yep, fits right in there just like that. Sorry, my camera's acting funny. Yep, the revolver fits in there. He has a back holster right here. I think you fit that pistol right in there like that. This right here is an open piece right there. This will actually fit his axe. And it sits right in there like that. And then he has another holster right here. Now, this knife, I think you have to kind of loosen this up because it doesn't go all the way down from what I noticed. But it does fit in there. It will go all the way down, but you just got to push it a little bit. Maybe it just needs to be loosened up. And then I'm going to guess he holds his grenades inside of his hands. So, yeah. And then he just holds his grenades in his hands if you want. So, but this is a little bit thinner plastic as well. I don't know if it'll break off right there because it's only held on by that little piece of plastic. But so far, I don't have any complaints. I actually prefer it to not be really hard plastic because I hate it when I'm trying to open the hands on an action figure and it's ripping the paint off of stuff or feel like I'm going to break the action figure. But yeah, man, it holds all of his weapons right there. Okay, now let's go ahead and measure him out for you real quick. He is about 5 3/4 right up here at the top of this little horn right here. So, you know, they're around the 5.5 inch figure, 5.5 inch size of figures. So we'll take a look at the other ones too, because some of them are going to be taller or shorter as well. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, now this right here is one of them Ceratopsian Guards. Basically, they're like the police or the military of the world Saura that they live in. They pledge absolute loyalty to King Turan. And basically, they just go around and make sure that everybody's obeying the law and not speaking ill of their conditions because basically they'll kill them. So they come with a whole bunch of different weapons. And they're the ones who are hunting their captain, Triax, the one I showed you guys a minute ago. So taking a look at the front of the box, you can see it comes with a bunch of weapons. I love it that they're all pink. I love all the different colors that they chose for these characters. Like I said, you can see the company that made these figures, Boss Fight Studios. These guards don't have single names. They're just called Ceratopsian Guards. Some more of that really cool comic book art right there. Like I said, I love this, man. I love that on my on boxes in case I ever decide to keep them in it. This gives you a brief little bio of these guards right here, and it shows you the other figures in the wave that you guys can collect. Now let's go ahead and pop him out of the box. All the boxes are the exact same size. Like I said, 10 inches long, 9 inches tall from the top up there, and about 4 inches wide. So if you're leaving him in the box, that's how much shelf space you're gonna need, all right? Okay, now here he is out of the box with all of his weapons. Now I noticed that some of his weapons are the exact same as Triax, the figure we just looked at. They're just painted pink, but that doesn't bother me at all. I love that. I actually love it that they picked a different color and a more of a bright color. The same with his pistol right here. It's the exact same pistol as Triax, which makes a lot of sense because Triax was the captain of the Royal Guard, and these were his military men who he would send out to go do the bidding of King Turon. So same with this little knife right here, exact same knife. But the difference is he doesn't have an axe. He ends up having a spear. So if you're going to be buying these figures as like as army builders, basically they're all going to have spears right here. That's what sets them apart and lets people know that they're the military. So I don't see any kind of wrapping on here like you've seen on Triax's axe, but still looks really cool. And then he comes with this really cool gas mask right here. I'm going to guess to stop like rioters from rebelling against, you know, the king and the army and stuff. So, and this just snaps right onto his face, and we'll take a look at that in a minute. But taking a look at the Ceratopsian Guard, I love the gold. Right away, just looking at this figure, I love all the texture up in here. I love the fact that they pick orange, gold, and green for this character. Man, he looks really dope. Now, if you notice, he has the same kind of belt as the captain that I showed you earlier, obviously because, you know, he was basically part of the guard, but he was the captain of it. So he's going to look a little bit alike. Let's go ahead and take a look at him next to each other. As you can see, he doesn't have those shoulder pieces up here like the guards do, but almost all the same, basically all the same military gear, armor, because like I said, he was just the captain of these guys right here. So now let's take a look at his articulation. The same articulation as Triax. Mouth does open and close. His arm does go up to here. These little pink things aren't hooked to the arm, so they can they don't render any kind of articulation. Single jointed elbows. It does rotate around. Same with the hands. They do go in, do go out. And like I said, it's very easy to pull apart the hands right here and then fit weapons inside without breaking anything. So same with the articulation in the legs, up, down, nothing's hindering or stopping or getting in the way. Has the same kind of holsters. He's missing the holster right here that you seen Triax had, but that's because Triax has a revolver. These guards don't have revolvers. So let's go ahead and take a look. His knife fits right into here, just like that. His gun slides right in the back. Like I said, just like the other figure, this is open right there, and it fits his little spear, and then he can hold his gadgets, or his grenades, I mean. And this mask, it just hooks right on the top of there, and I think you just push it on. Just like that. And that's how he looks with his mask on. That looks really cool, man. I really love this. Like I said, if you guys remember Toxic Crusaders by Playmates, that's exactly what these characters remind me of, especially with this gas mask right here. Now, real quick, I want to make sure that I measure this guy out for you real fast. I'm pretty sure he's the same height as Triax, the captain, real quick. And yeah, he is. So he's going to be about 5 3/4 right here. So, yep. So these two are the same exact height. Okay, up next we're looking at Range Brachion. He's part of a tribe called the Sauropods, and he's basically a gun for hire. When King Turon put up a bounty on Triax's head for stealing those forbidden plans, he's one of the bounty hunters who's basically going out to go kill him and get those plans, but he has an ulterior motive. He's actually planning on not bringing those plans back to the king. He's going to take those plans back to his tribe to better them in life. So, like I said, he's a bounty hunter, but he has ulterior motives. So taking a look at the front of the box, you can see he has an axe, which is some kind of like rocket axe from what I've seen on the back. He has a sword, or not sword, but a knife, and then he has a sniper rifle right there. So same kind of box. It all measures out the same, 10 inches long, 9.5 inches tall by 4 inches wide. So if you're leaving this in the box, that's how much shelf space you're going to need. You can see a really cool comic book drawing image of him right there. You know, obviously he's a Brachiosaurus. And then on the back, You guys can pause this if you want to read up on it real quick. And right there's the other figures in this wave. Let's go ahead and pop him out of the box. Okay, now here he is out of the box. Let's go ahead and take a look at his 3 accessories or weapons real quick. This right here is called his rocket axe. So I'm going to guess it's an axe with some kind of rocket booster on the end of it. Maybe when he swings it, it shoots flames out or something like that. But I noticed this weapon actually has 3 different paint colors. That the other 2 only had 2 on each weapon. So you can see like some kind of like Velociraptor or T-Rex skull right here. You can see a lot of sculpting detail. Like the blades done with, been through stuff in life. You can see all the wrap right here around the handle, a little blade at the bottom. You can see the motor right here to this little rocket booster on the end of the axe. So on the back of the axe, I mean. So that right there is pretty cool. And then this right here is his sniper rifle. Like I said, he's a gun for hire. And there's a lot of detail in there. Obviously, if you guys are any customizer out there or want to, add some extra paint to this thing, it'd be pretty cool. Normally, I noticed on the other 2 characters, there's only 2 paint colors per weapon. So, but yeah, they did a lot of sculpting in here. So that looks pretty cool. This right here is his poisonous dagger. I'm going to guess it's meant for Triax in order to kill him and steal those plans and weapons back from him. So now let's go ahead and take a look at Brachion up close. And I ain't gonna lie to you, this right here so far is one of my favorite ones. I just love the blue on him. The pink just really pops on his clothes. And there's something else. He has like a purplish shading like hue right here, like up the middle of his neck, right here by his armpits and on his chest. So he's not one solid color. And you actually see that with the other characters as well. Like here's Triax, and Triax isn't just green. You could see that he has like light green and then dark green. So he's all not just one color, especially like right here on his legs. You can see dark green and then light green. So I like it that boss fight ended up doing that because that's pretty cool. Now you can see he has 2 different holsters right here. That's to fit those weapons in, which I'll show you in a second. And yeah, man, this figure just looks really cool, man. Now he's going to have the same articulation besides the fact that obviously he's a Brachiosaurus, so he's going to be a little bit taller. His neck actually moves right here on top of his head moving as well. So his head can spin all the way around. His mouth does open like the other characters do. His head goes down to about there and then can go up to about there, can turn and go back and forth. And like I said, his other head can move as well up here. He has the same articulation as far as the shoulder blades and everything. Single jointed elbows, single jointed knees. Hands can move. It does rotate right here at the elbow as well. His foot does go up, does go down, does rock back and forth. But yeah, that's pretty much it as far as articulation. He does have waist swivel, but no kind of ab crunch. Now, just like the other characters, it's kind of thin plastic right here. Hopefully over the years, this doesn't like dry out or like, chip or break. But so far it looks cool. Obviously, these are brand new toys. So I guess you'll have to wait and see if there's any kind of issues in the long run over the years. But yeah, man, this thing looks really cool, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm in love with these toys already. So, and this thing is kind of loose. It wobbles around. So you can kind of move this back and forth. This isn't connected to his waist at all. Same thing with these little arm guards. These things can, they're really loose. They can, not really loose, but they can rotate around. You can kind of move them a little bit. So I actually noticed that with one of the Ceratopsian Guards. Actually, I forgot to mention that these do rotate around. They're like loose, so they're not like connected to the arm. They're on there, but they can move them around and do whatever you want with those. I forgot to mention that too. So, but let's go ahead and take a look at how his weapons look on him. I'm gonna guess his knife goes right in here. Or his poisonous dagger, and that fits in there a lot better than the way the other daggers do on the other characters. I had to kind of push them down in there pretty hard. Maybe the plastic just needs to be loosened up a little bit, but his knife fits right in there in his little pouch right there really well. And then he has that same little back opening to fit his axe in there. So let's see if we can get that in there. Yep, and it holds in there very well. Okay, now that I have his weapons on him, there's a few things that I noticed. Basically, his axe, you kind of have to scoot it all the way up here basically, because if it's down here, there's no kind of, it's a little bit thinner right here, like there's no wrap that's making it thick enough to fit in there. So it kind of just pops right out, as you can see right here. It's almost like you kind of have to keep this pushed closed a little bit in order to get it in there really good. So maybe in the future, if Boss Fight can make this like a little bit thicker plastic, that way it holds that a little bit better. And then the same with his sniper gun right here. I noticed that they did make a little lip on it right here in the back, which you can see right there. That way it fits on the back of his thumb, because the handle is a little bit thin compared to the roundness of his open hand right here. But that's probably why they put that little lip on there. That way it connects right to the back of his thumb. So, but it fits in there, but you know, it's a little bit wobbly, I noticed. So maybe it's just like the way you kind of sit it right on there. Like I said, his hand is just really big, maybe to hold that axe. But like I said, his axe is really top heavy right here too. So that's probably why it keeps popping out of this little slot right here. So don't expect this little slot to hold it if you're going to be moving this toy around a lot. But yeah, right there is range Brachion. And like I said, that axe makes it kind of top heavy. Let's go ahead and move that real quick. And I'm going to measure him out for you with his head all the way up. He comes out to 6 inches tall. It looks a little bit bigger than 6 inches, but it's not on camera. It's actually 6 inches. So he's 6 inches tall compared to these guys who are 5 3/4. So he's not too much bigger, but he's at that 6-inch mark. All right, guys, let's go ahead and move on to the last one. Okay, now last but not least, this right here is Marosis, aka Maro. That must be his nickname. That's what it says on the back of the box. Now he's part of the vicious theropods tribe, and he is also a gun for hire, just like Range Brachion, and he's trying to get that bounty on Triax right here. But unlike Range Brachion, his plan is to not keep those plans for himself. He just wants the bounty. So like I said, he's a gun for hire, so he just wants the money. That he goes where the money is. Now it also says on the back of the box that he's not the brightest, so he must not be very smart, but he's extremely strong and he's very vicious. So let's go ahead and take a look at the box. Right there it says his name, Marosis. You can see he comes with his tail, which is going to hook on the back. He comes with a knife right here, and he comes with some kind of gun, which we'll take a look at that in a second. All right. And then right there's a comic book image of him, and he looks a lot more vicious right here than he does right there. Right here he looks pretty scary. Now this is a little bio on him. You guys can go ahead and pause that if you want to read up on it, okay? And then this is the other figures in the collection in this first wave. All right, let's go ahead and pop him out of the box. Okay, now here's Maro out of the box. Like I said, he's a bounty hunter. He ends up coming with 2 weapons, 1 armor piece that you can hook on either side of his shoulders, and then he has a tail that you end up having to attach. Probably couldn't fit in the box and keep it at that 4-inch width distance that it has inside the box. Now, I already had a QC issue, which I'll show you guys in a second, but let's go ahead and take a look at his weapons. This right here is his dagger. It's actually not the same dagger that you seen come with Range Brachion, which I thought it was, but it's not. This is Range Brachion's right here, and as you can see, it's a little bit smaller compared to this one right here. Hold on, let me see if I can zoom in a little bit better. There you go. Yep. So basically it's a smaller knife. Well, excuse me. The one that Marosis has is a bigger knife. You can see it doesn't have that line sculpting right there. This one's a little bit bigger blade. So yeah, it's not the same knife like I thought it was. So let's go ahead and fit that back in there. Move him out the way. Then he has this piece of armor right here that can hook on either side of his shoulder. So it can hook right here, or it can hook on this side right there, and it stays on there pretty well while you're moving the toy around. So it's but it is removable. And this right here is his Mega Blaster. Unlike the other weapons, it's not just 2 different colors. You can see this thing has a whole bunch of different colors. It has the orange and blue right here in the canisters, gray right here in these kind of cables. It has black shading underneath, and then pink on top. And then it has 2 adjustable handles right here, obviously to make it fit inside of his hand and move around a little bit better, but they do wiggle back and forth. They're not wiggle that, but they do, you know, they do rotate back and forth whatever way you want them to. So that's that. This right here is his tail that you end up hooking on. Now real quick before I attach his tail, I had two two QC issues. One is his holster right here that holds his blade ended up falling off. I glued it back on now, and I'll wait and see how that holds up. And then another issue I had was flaking right here on his belt. You can kind of see that. I'll try and zoom in a little bit. Yeah, it kind of just flaked right off as I was trying to see how his tail hooks on. So I'm going to go ahead and pop his tail on real quick. See if I can, there you go. All right, yep, it's on that little ball joint right there. But as I was moving it around, you could see one of his blades right here was rubbing against the belt, and then it just started flaking off. So I didn't have that issue with the other figures, but then again, I wasn't attaching arms and legs and tails and stuff to the other figures. So, but other than that, that's the only thing I had. I'll see how this glue holds up. The only glue I was using is this four pack of glue for $1. It comes with 4 of them inside of a pack. I think it's like $1 at Dollar Tree or something, or not Dollar General, but Dollar Tree. Now let's go ahead and take a look at his articulation. Just like the other figure, Range Brachion, he has movement in both his neck right here that does rotate around, and then his head also moves around. I noticed when you lift his head up, his mouth automatically opens. So if you push it back down, it closes. Then it goes up. Like I said, his neck does rotate. His head will rotate all the way around. Same kind of articulation up here in the arms. Single jointed elbows, single jointed knees. His hands do rotate around. They do go in and out. These little armbands right here, they do move around. All the other characters, the same with them. It does all move around. So nothing new there. He just has so many extra little accessories hooked to him, like his knee pads. It's like a bone or something right here on his knee pad that rotates around. These little blue scarf things right here, they rotate around too right here. And same thing with his belt. His belt, he has a whole bunch of little pouches on him right there, and his belt does rotate around. He does have waist swivel right here. So, but his legs don't go up very far. Now, I don't know if it's maybe because he's, hunched over, kind of like, like Quasimodo, he's so much of a more thicker character, but his legs don't go up too far out. They don't go up too far up like that either. So, and like I said, this little armor piece can attach to either side of his shoulder right there. But yeah, as far as QC issues, this is the only one I had. That flaking might have been because I was trying to get his tail on, and his tail does rotate back and forth, and it was just rubbing up against that. But the paint kind of looks a little flaky right there as I was looking at it. But you can see he has blades right here that go right through this vest, and his vest does come off. You have to probably pop his arms off, which I'm not going to do it because I don't know if they're supposed to pop off, but his vest does look like it opens up and comes off. And then his mouth is a little bit wobbly back and forth right here, but it's only when his head is up. When his head is down, it's basically closed. So, but yeah, he's a pretty cool character. Let's go ahead and put his weapons on him real fast. Okay, now here's Maro with his weapons all in his hands. Like I said, it's pretty good that his hands actually rotate back and forth, in and out, and then the handles on his Mega Blaster, they rotate up and down. So that kind of helps him hold his gun pretty well and not like tip forward. That's what his tail, I think, is for too, to stop him from tipping backwards or tipping forward, because his tail does go up, does go down. And then his dagger right here slides right into that little pouch right here. Like I said, I did have to glue this pouch on, so just be careful, because that's the only kind of QC issue I've seen besides that paint right there. So, but yeah, that's how he looks. Now let's go ahead and measure him out real quick, because even though he's a much thicker figure, he's very short. He's about 4.5 inches from the top of this blade right there. So he's only 4.5 compared to the other ones that are 5.25. Let's take a look at them next to each other. Yeah, there's a pretty big difference right here. Now let's go ahead and take a look at Range Brachion. Move up the camera a little bit. And like I said, Range Brachion is 6 inches. The other two figures are 5.75, and then he is, like I said, 4.5, or was it 4.5? Let's take a look. Yeah, 4.5 inches. So he's a little bit shorter, but he's just a lot wider, a lot thicker. And then with his tail, he's gonna be has more depth on your shelf. So just take that into consideration with how much depth you're gonna need with the fact that his tail is hooked on. Let's take a look at them all together, all right? Okay, now this is all of the figures together right here in this first wave. taking a look at them, their bright colors, the weapons that they have, just the way they look overall, they remind me a lot of the Playmate Ninja Turtles. Obviously, they're a little bit taller, but that's exactly who they remind me of. You know, like this right here is Worm from the Ninja Turtles, and all the different bright colors, the crazy looking weapons, they just remind me a lot of the old Playmate Ninja Turtles. Taking a look at Triax right here with one of the Ninja Turtle Triceratons. Yeah, that's exactly who they remind me of, with the way their guns look, all the armor and everything. I love these new toys. I'm going to be putting these definitely on one of my display shelves for everybody to see when they come in the Cave of Wonders. But that's exactly who these characters remind me of. Let's see, grab him real quick. Yeah, man, all his crazy colors, they just remind me a lot of the old Ninja Turtles. And he actually measures out really well because of how short he is. But yeah, take a look at that. Yeah, there's just no denying it, man. That's probably why I'm going to fall in love with these toys right here. Just because a lot of them remind me of, you know, of these different figures. Like I said, of the old figures that I used to play with when I was little. So let's do one more comparison real quick. Okay, now this right here is the Dino Turtles from Playmates compared to these new Saurozoic Warrior figures that we've been looking at. And as you can see, they have a lot of the same similarities. Obviously, these figures the turtles didn't have any kind of armor or anything like that. But yeah, man, it was really cool how they look next to each other. You can see Maro right here next to Stego. They're both Stegosauruses. And he actually scales really well with these guys because he's only 4.5 inches. So, yeah, I might just pretend that the turtles got sucked into some kind of portal or something and need the Saurozoic Warriors' help to fight Tyranno Shredder or something like that. You know, a lot of playability with these toys. All right, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed today's look at the Saurozoic Warriors. These figures are really awesome. I love the bright colors. I love the crazy weapons and just the way they look, man, and the scale. You know, they're not 6 inches. They're not 7 inches. You know, they're just the right scale. And yeah, I just love them, man. Like I said, they remind me a lot of the Playmates Ninja Turtles back in the late 80s, early 90s. And yeah, I just love the way they look. Now, like I said, I got these from Big Bad Toy Store. If you guys want to order them, you guys can head over there and get them. I think they have my Entertainment Earth as well. I do know that they have Wave 2 up for pre-order as well. So if you want to see what those look like before you commit to buying the first wave. But yeah, man, these things are really cool. And don't forget, there's also 2 exclusive repaints. I think of these 2 figures right here. I think one is at Entertainment Earth and one is at Big Bad Toy Store. But yeah, man, if you guys enjoyed this video today, make sure you guys like and subscribe, and let me know down in the comments if this is something that you're interested in buying, and if you're doing it up pre-ordering them, right? All right, guys, stay cool. Till next time.